Hello and welcome back to the San Marino experiment here on the TomFM channel. Hope you're all doing well today. Hopefully we're going to be making a lot of progress in this experiment today. Hopefully we're going to see some real growth from San Marino. Right now we're in 2034, which is where we left off from last episode. So if you missed last episode or even the first episode, there'll be links on top of the screen right now to go back to the first episode and the second episode, so you can catch up for there and get back on track with the series. If you are all caught up with this experiment so far, then good stuff. Let's get on with today's episode. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel first and you've dropped a like on the video for me as well, because that really helps. We're also really close to 10,000 subscribers now, and I'd love to get that by the end of the week. I think we might do, but I need that last little boost from you guys. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to do so. That would be absolutely fantastic. Right then, so let's go on with today's episode. A little recap to start things off though. Last episode, we ended up in 2034, where San Marino were the 100th best team in the world, which is really good stuff. But as you can see from the world rankings behind my head right now, I'll just move out of the way so you can see it. All this stuff here, they stagnated quite a bit. They were as high as 96th at one point, but are now back to 100th. So a bit of stagnation there. What we have done is we've gone to teams like Tre Penne in the San Marino League. The San Marino League, by the way, is currently the 75th most reputable league in Europe, which is pretty decent, but we need to get that up into the top 20 or so if we want to be really make gains in this experiment. So we need to be getting that up pretty quickly. What we've done with every single side in the San Marino League, such as Tre Penne, for example, is we've gone into the club details and we've edited the finances. Every club's now got £100 million in the bank. We need to give that extra bit of boost. Tre Penne, for example, are also a club that we've put a sugar daddy in for as well, just to help them out a little bit as well. A few of you said in the comment section, put a few sugar daddies in. So a few clubs have got sugar daddies. We've increased the wage budget as well, to hopefully they can actually start to afford paying those wonder kids actual good wages now. So that might be quite useful. Facilities are all back up to 20 out of 20 as well. They had dropped down a little bit for some teams, so they're all back up to 20 out of 20. And then for the few clubs as well, a few clubs out there, we've added in some affiliation. So Tre Penne are now affiliated with Juventus. Juventus pay the money every single year. They've got option to buy players. Players can go on loan, sort of thing. So hopefully having a few affiliates there with some of these good sides in the Italian leagues, for example, might help out a little bit as well. But that was a good comment that we got last time. So if you've got any ideas of how else we might be able to increase San Marino and make them the best team in the world, please do let me know. But this was a really good comment and suggestion from last episode that I thought might be useful. So we've added in a few affiliates as well. So that is where we left off last time. That is what I've done in between episodes, and hopefully it's going to make a big impact. So we're going to go forward for another 4-year cycle to 2038, and hopefully we'll see some big improvements. And just like that, we are now in 2038. 4 years on from where we just left off, and in that time, San Marino have risen to 99th in the world ranking. So despite me adding all that money in, stagnation has occurred, which is a bit of an issue, I've got to say. They rose to 96th at one point. That was recently, 2030. That says June 2038 there. So that must have been quite recent, but I'm not quite sure if this is bugged out or not on the bottom, because that seems like an awful lot of movement for 3 or 4 months between June and September that we are in now. So I feel like that must be a different date there. However, San Marino are 99th now. So I suppose we can say it has been a bit of success, because we have moved up the world rankings ever so slightly, although it's not quite as much as we would have wanted to. If we look at the actual squad though, it does look like the money has helped out a bit, because we've got some really good regions that have just come through in the past 4 years or so, because these guys, 19, 18, 20, 20, they wouldn't have been in the game last time round, I don't think, looking at this. I think these have just come back into the game recently, which is pretty decent, to be fair. So I suppose we'll start off with this chap, Manuel Giannini. He looks like he is going to be one of the best players in the world. I think the best potential we've had so far is 190, but that player has now retired. If we look at this, 127 current ability, 192 potential. That is pretty mental. Centre midfielder does look pretty decent, I've got to say, for a young midfielder out there. Still actually playing in San Marino for La Ferita. Hasn't actually played very well at all, which is a bit of a surprising one there. Like, his average ratings do not look like he should be at 127 current ability and 192 potential. Either way, he's the best player in the squad at the moment, so that's pretty decent. Hopefully, if he start, some of these players here, look at this. They really need to start realising that potential, because if they do, they have some real good players on their hands. They've got some really highly rated ones for the next 10 years or so. This could be the golden generation for San Marino. Roberto Giardi as well, he's a striker, 132 current ability. He's one of the better players in the squad, 189 potential, 15 finishing, not bad to be fair. He's got some really good physicals as well, which is pretty cool. Again, where's he been playing? He's been playing in the San Marino leagues, scored 10 goals last season, which isn't too bad, I suppose. You'd expect a little bit better with that kind of current ability, but fair play. There do look to be some really decent regens here at the moment, which is quite exciting. Hopefully some of them will start to establish themselves over the next few seasons then, and hopefully next time we come back we'll see a massive improvement, because obviously these guys are quite young, so they're not going to have that kind of impact on the national squad yet, which is perhaps why I've seen a bit of stagnation again in the national team. But because they're all quite young, obviously come through in the past 4 years, hopefully now we will start to see some more growth again. The San Marino League has jumped up to 69th, most reputable league in the world as well, which is pretty decent as well, so that's quite good. Trey Penny obviously winning quite a few titles still as well, so we'll have a quick look at them, see if there's anything in Europe. Over the past 4 seasons, Trey Penny have only got to the group stage of the Europa League once, lost all their games once they got there, but they are starting to get back there, because there was a barren patch where Trey Penny weren't winning the league and weren't qualifying for European competitions. So it's good to see them back in there. This is their 3rd time now in the Europa League group stages. So that's pretty decent to see. As far as I'm aware, I've had a quick look through some other clubs as well, and I've not seen anyone else qualify for group stages yet of competitions. So hopefully that will start to happen as we progress in this experiment. But this 4-year cycle, I think, is sort of like a getting ready period. I think those good regions have come through. Hopefully in the next 4-year cycle we're going to see massive improvement with those regions really taking the front and centre stage. Anyway, onwards and upwards again. We're going to go for another 4 years and hopefully see some big change. And just like that, once again back in another 4 years, now 2042, and San Marino have jumped up to 73rd in the world rankings. I realise in the last 4-year cycle I forgot to show you the fixtures, so we'll go through all the fixtures again. Completely forgot to do that. I got a bit carried away looking at other things instead, and those players really surprised me. So hopefully we'll see their developments, and hopefully we'll see some good progress in their schedule and things like that. But a rapid rise since last time, as you can see, up from 99th and all the way up to a high of 72nd at one point, and then we've dropped down to 73rd. But that's still pretty good progress, I've got to say. So before we look at the team, we need to look at the last 8 years of fixtures. As you can see in 2034, not much really going on there. 2035 was a better year, winning some games in the European qualifications, but I don't think they're going to be qualifying for the actual European Championships, which is a bit of a shame. 2036 in European League Division C, which is quite good. Obviously, that's the 3rd tier of European football, but by the looks of things, not winning any games there, losing quite a few. I think they will get relegated. Lost to Wales in the European Championship semi-final as well, which is a bit disappointing. 2037 is the World Cup qualifying year, and actually looks like a pretty decent qualifying route. Winning games against Andorra and Croatia and Armenia, drawing with Greece, but then losing the rest of them. So they probably didn't qualify for the World Cup, but most certainly didn't finish bottom of their group either, which is quite exciting. Season afterwards was an unbeaten year in the 2038 year. Fantastic stuff. 10-0 wins over Andorra, 9-0 wins over Gibraltar, and 4-0 wins over Lithuania in European League Division D. That's obviously UEFA Nations League Division D, so that's the 4th tier, the bottom tier of European football. Getting back promoted to the 3rd tier, which is pretty decent, so that looks pretty good. 2039 now, this is obviously into the second 4-year cycle that we've done in this episode. European Championship qualifying, again, doesn't look too bad to be fair. Lose twice to Turkey, but the rest of the results are pretty respectable, I've got to say. Not sure they would have got to the group though, because actually they did lose to Spain twice as well, I've just noticed. So we'll see what happens, obviously. And actually they do qualify for the European Championships. They go into the playoffs, beat Cyprus and Bosnia to go to the European Championships. For the second time, of course, we saw them go to their last episode as well. This time, losing 2 games and drawing 1 to Holland as well. So again, similar fate to last time, not getting past the group stages. But at least they're there again, which is really good. And their European Division C campaign later on in the year, in 2040, looks pretty decent as well. That might be promotion, actually, from Division C to Division B, which is the 2nd tier of European international football, which looks pretty decent. The World Cup qualifying as well looks really good. They beat Spain, they beat Kazakhstan, Bosnia, lose to Turkey, but draw with Turkey again. They might have actually qualified for a World Cup. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they might have done it. If we go to 2042, why is there no World Cup? Oh, did they not actually qualify for the World Cup? I thought that might have been qualification for the World Cup. Obviously, Turkey beat them and they drew with Spain, beat Spain, and how have they not qualified for the World Cup? That seems very harsh to me. That seems really harsh. I'm not quite sure. They must have come second in their group unless Spain did really well somehow and managed to beat Turkey twice, for example, sort of thing, when Spain might have come top. But that seems really unfortunate on San Marino, because that seemed like a really good World Cup qualifying campaign. 2042, obviously, no World Cup at all, but they are in European League Division B, the 2nd tier of international European football. So that's pretty good to see. Hopefully they'll have a good run in that and get promoted to the A-League, and that'll be amazing. Looking back at this senior squad then, what's going on here? And by looks of things, Manuel Giannini, who was the really high-rated wonder kid, 192 potential, just hasn't improved. He's stuck at 125 and is now a free agent. Didn't move on at all from La Ferita. Average ratings didn't particularly improve either. I mean, he got a 7 rating in that past season, but other than that, not really improving. So I can't believe that. That's twice now. We've had 2 regens with 190 plus potential, and both of them have done absolutely rubbish, not reaching their potential at all. The other players, though, look like they may have reached their potential. If we sort it by current ability, Roberto Giardi, who now plays for Inter Milan, looks like a pretty decent player at 22 years old up front, of course. His goal-scoring record hasn't been the best, actually, to be fair, but did make an £8.5 million move from Inter Milan, from New York, actually. So obviously went there in between playing for San Marino, Italy. So decent stuff there. Looking down, this goalkeeper as well looks pretty decent. I'm not sure if we looked at him before, but he's got a good potential. Valued at 57 million is also pretty high, to be fair. Was recently bought, actually, for 57 million. So that's pretty exciting. After being at Trey Penne for a little while, was at Monaco for a bit and developed himself there. So he looks like a pretty decent player. He's obviously keeping the clean sheets for San Marino. I think I may have just said Manuel was a goalkeeper. He's not. He's a centre-back. This is the guy's the goalkeeper. Ignore me what I'm saying. I just talk some absolute rubbish sometimes. If we do look down the list, though, a lot of these players I don't think are reaching that potential, which is a shame, I've got to say. Like, 24 years old centre-back here, 183 potential, but only reached 146 current ability. 24 years old isn't really going to be improving that much. So I think a lot of these, apart from this goalkeeper up here, not many of them are going to be reaching their potential, unfortunately, which is a shame. A little bit of stagnation, perhaps, for the San Marino Leagues. Only 65th in the European continental rankings at the moment, just behind the Icelandic Premier Division. So it's moved up a little bit, but not massively since the last 4-year cycle. Trey Penne, though, are still absolutely dominating proceedings. Again, if we have a look at their competitions, let's look for the continental ones, obviously. We want Euro Cup and the Champions League. How have they done? Actually, this season looks pretty decent. They've qualified already for the group stages against Zurich, Liverpool and Dinamo Kiev. So that's a good bit of progress. Beating Red Star Belgrade along the way, which is quite cool in the Champions League. Or lost to Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League, but went into the European qualification instead. Season before that, only got to the 4th qualifying round. Season before that, only the 3rd qualifying round. And then 4th qualifying round before that. So only qualifying once for the group stages since the last 4-year cycle, but at least they are getting there again. Hopefully a good performance this season will boost the European rankings of the San Marino League. Again, I'm looking through a few of these clubs at the moment just to see if any of them are getting into the later stages of European football. But as I look through their placings, not many of them are getting past those initial qualifying rounds, which is a great shame, to be fair. It's only Trey Penne who seems to be carrying the San Marino flag in European club competitions, which is a shame. So what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to go one more 4-year cycle, and then next episode we'll have to make a few more changes again, I think, to try and really boost things up. I want next episode to sort of be the last one. I feel like that it sort of runs its course, and if we're not going to be getting San Marino to become the best team in the world within 50 years or so, after having all this kind of intervention, I don't think it's really going to happen. So we'll try our best still, but one more 4-year cycle this episode, one more episode after that, unless it looks really close, of course, but we'll have to wait and see. And just like that, another 4 years out the way, now in 2046, and San Marino up to 58th best team in the world, which is the highest they've ever been, actually. Only just moved up to 58th best in the world, so that's a good sign. Hopefully, we're going to see some stuff coming up, and hopefully we're going to see some good results in their schedule. So the rest of 2042 may have finished in a bit of disappointment after they've been in the second tier of European football, but looks like they only managed to win one game against Romania, lost the other one, so they might have been relegated again, unfortunately, back to the 3rd tier, but it's not too bad. European Championship qualifying looks pretty good from a start. As we get later on, it looks a little bit worse, so I'm not sure if they have qualified for the European Championships in 2044. If we do go on to the next one, they did actually get... Oh my goodness, they've done amazing. Right, so they get through the playoffs and... So they qualify for the playoffs for the European Championships, get through both of those again, into the European Championships, where they're in Group F, draw with England, beat Scotland and lose to Spain, but that gets them through either way, which actually I think that could mean that San Marino knocked out England and Spain in the group stages, which is pretty mental. Can we click on this and see what happened? Oh, I don't think we can, which is a great shame. Oh no, we actually can. Unfortunately, it looks like 3 teams qualified from the group stage in this version of the game, which is a bit of a shame. It was Group F, wasn't it? San Marino do beat England, though, in the group stages. Now, they've knocked Scotland out, at least. Spain win the group, San Marino second, England only just qualifying in 3rd place. That's crazy, but you love to see that. This is good progress. So they get through the group stages and into the second round where they beat Russia 1-0, which is pretty good, and then go through and beat Denmark on penalties in the quarterfinals. They go to the European Championships semi-finals and then lose to France. I mean, this is progress. This is absolutely amazing stuff. I'm so pleased with this. They went into the European League Division C, UEFA Nations League Group C, win all their games pretty much, apart from two, obviously draw Czech Republic. That seems like they're going to get promoted, I think, which is good stuff. Into 2045, which is World Cup qualifying territory. They've only lost a handful of games, including games to England and Turkey. So actually, if they've lost both games to England and Turkey, they may have not qualified for the World Cup again, unfortunately, after a really good campaign by looks of things. We'll find out as we go into 2046. Again, unfortunately, they've just missed out on World Cup qualifying. It will happen at some point. They've got to the semi-finals of the European Championship. They will qualify for a World Cup soon. They're back in the second tier of European international football as well, taking on Spain and Austria in Group 3 of Division B. It's all very complicated, the groups and division stuff, but they're in the second tier at least, which is good. Oh, what a cracking way to finish off this episode. I'm so pleased seeing them, that kind of progress, getting to the semi-finals. That is absolutely amazing. Let's have a look at this national side then, the senior squad. For the final time in this episode, Roberto Giardi is still there. He's at Man City now, at 26 years old, 186 current ability, 189 potential, has improved, valued at £84 million as well. What a man he has turned out to be after leaving to go to New York, then to Inter Milan. Inter Milan selling for 72 million to Barcelona and then 110 million to Man City. That's insane amounts of money for a player that's not actually scoring 20 goals in a season. So that's crazy money. Looking at the ages down here, it actually looks like we've got two more new ones, maybe three new ones actually coming through. We've got this guy, 22 years old, Luca Righi. He's another striker who looks pretty good at Atletico Madrid at the moment after coming through Cosmos' youth system there, which is quite cool. He's got 175 potential, has nearly reached that to be fair, so he's going to be a very, very good striker. Looking down as well, this particular chap, midfielder centre, 183 potential, only 19 years old, currently playing for Inter Milan, so he could be a pretty good player in future. Went on a free transfer, of course, because Inter Milan aren't going to be spending any money on these players. And then there's these two players here, Selva and Bologna. They look like pretty good defenders and goalkeepers with 180 potential, 181 potential respectively, playing for Chicago and Monaco. A lot of players seem to be going to American clubs. Obviously, we've seen some players go to New York. I've seen one player go to Dallas. I saw that last time on this screen. And there's a player here at Chicago. So I'm not quite sure what it is with American clubs and San Marino players, but they seem to be working quite well. I have just seen, though, the best player. Now, in the comment section last time, someone said to me, can you please look at the under-21s and under-19 squad? And I thought I'll save it for this last 4-year cycle because that makes sense, because then we'll see who's going to be coming up in the next episode. And I've just seen this guy, Lorenzo Bennett ET. I mean, I have just completely butchered his surname there. It's not that at all what I just said. But he's got 198 potential ability. I'm not sure I've ever... It's a shame that it's in such a useless position as well. He's a midfielder right. I don't think anyone really uses midfielder rights and midfielder lefts anymore. It's always attacking midfielders or wing backs. So he's in a pretty useless position, which is a massive shame. But with 198, I don't think I've ever seen a player with that much potential before. So I'm over the moon with that. He has, however, been let go of his club. He's currently unattached to a club. We need to get him somewhere. I'm actually very tempted just to add him in on the editor, to just move him to a club, because I think he needs to go to a club. We want to see him develop. He's 21 years old, 130 current ability, 198 potential, and yet isn't at a club. If you've got a good idea of where to move him to, because I don't want to ruin his potential, let me know where you want him to go to, because I'll move him there. But you'll probably watch this episode before I even forward again in the future. So please do let me know, and then I've probably got a bit of time to move him before I actually do some more simulations. To be fair, the under-20 squad looks good as well. 167 potential, 154 potential, 146 potential. They're not bad either. And then the under-19 squad, a bit lacklustre, no one there particularly, but that under-21 squad looks pretty mental, to be fair. I've never seen that much potential before. This is exciting. So despite the excitement in the international scene, by looks of things, the San Marino League is really starting to stagnate now. Only 66th in continental reputation, which is a bit of a disappointment. I would expect to see them go up a little bit, but they're only just better in League 2 apparently. So we need to sort that one out soon. Trepene's dominance has seemed to have been stopped by Folgore and Colungo. They look like they're starting to become a dominant side, maybe. So we'll look at Trepene quickly. Their schedule for the senior squad over the past few seasons. Any group stages of European competitions? Haven't even actually been in it the past few seasons, actually. So it's a shame there, to be fair. Group G, at that time they were in it, obviously got knocked out losing every single game by looks of things as well. Folgore then, have they done anything decent in the past few years in European football? I wouldn't have thought so, on the grounds that the league reputation hasn't really increased and it's only as good as League Two. So I don't think they will have done. Unfortunately, they haven't. So no teams I don't think are going to be in European competitions or the knockout stages or the group stage of European competitions. So we'll have to try and work that one out. I think what we're going to do in between episodes then is... It's a bit of a controversial one, but I might start to increase the reputation of some of these clubs because we need to start getting the San Marino League up into the top 40, top 30, top 20. That will then help the international scene as well, as there'll be just more interest in the league and things like that. And I think there'll be better development for the players and things like that. Let's have a quick look actually as well at some of the club facilities. Tre Fiori, for example, edit club details, finances. They've dropped money as well. The facility is starting to drop a little bit as well. So I'll top up the clubs with some more money. We'll add better facilities back in as well. I think I will start to increase reputation as well. If we look at the actual reputation, it's only 4,000, which isn't massive. I think we need to be looking at clubs having at least 5,000 reputation. So that might be something I start to increase as well, just to see if we can boost things for next episode. Overall, though, I think we've seen a really positive episode, which is really, really good stuff. Plenty of improvement internationally, not quite so much domestically, but international is kind of what we're hoping for anyway. We want that #1 spot in the world rankings, and I think with a bit of extra help, we can do it. It might take more than one more episode. We'll have to sort of see what happens next episode. If there's a lot of stagnation, then we'll sort of leave it. If we are getting close, there could be a 5th episode in this experiment series, so we'll wait and see. If you've got any suggestions in the comment section as well, please do let me know, because that'd be really helpful as well. If you've got a good idea of how we can improve things, let me know. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. Please do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. There's going to be a subscribe button in the middle of the screen right now, and then I'm going to give you a choice of 2 videos to watch next. You can watch another experiment on the channel, or you can go and watch the Lincoln Loco series that we've got going on, where we've taken Lincoln United from the 8th tier, and we're now actually in the Championship, which is pretty cool, nearly at the Premier League. So join us for that. All aboard the Lincoln Loco. I'll see you in one of those videos. Goodbye.